Okay, this is part 2 of the zero product property lesson, AM1 Lesson 17 from, what's it called? It's called Eureka Math. Yeah, sorry, Eureka Math, Great Minds. And what we're going to do, again, the advanced portion of the zero product property. I encourage you strongly, if you didn't watch the first part of the zero product property lecture online and demonstration online, or if you don't understand the zero product property, please go back and watch it. If you understand completely the zero product property and how it works and why it's so valuable in algebra, then you are ready for this more advanced lesson and how to utilize this property to solve more complicated algebra problems. So without any further ado, let us go over to our Sketchpad. I love this app. And we will solve 3 different levels of problems, and we're going to go from easy to hard. And we're going to start with first of all, I'm just going to tell you the zero product property. The zero product property. So cool. It says that if x times y equals 0, 2 things multiplied together equals 0, then x equals 0 or y equals 0. The first thing equals 0. The other way to say it is if 2 factors multiplied together equal 0, then the first factor equals 0, or the second factor equals 0. Now, the first problem we're going to do is this one. And okay, so we're going to start with x squared equals 6x. Now, some people will look at this and you'll say, well, I can eyeball this one. Well, the answer is x is 0, because x squared is 0 and 6 times 0 is 0. But there's actually 2 answers to this. And some people can maybe see the second answer. But I want to show you, you need to understand this concept here. And once you understand this concept here, you will understand the more advanced version of how to solve the problem. Each problem is going to work this exact same way. You're going to follow these steps. You're going to, you're going to set, you're going to move all terms to left and set to 0. Then you're going to factor. Then you're going to use the zero product property to solve. That's our strategy in all cases. And again, here's our zero product property over here. And we're going to solve. So the first thing we do is we're going to move everything to the left. So the way that you move everything to the left on this problem is you're going to subtract 6x from both sides. So on the left, you get x squared minus 6x equals 0. Now we're going to factor this. And we're going to see that every time we factor, we're going to factor something that looks like a times b plus a times c equals a times b plus c. So in this case, the common thing is an x. We have an x in the first term and the second term. So we're going to say we have x times x minus 6 equals 0. Okay, so if x times x minus 6 equals 0, then we know, using the zero product property, that either the first thing or the second thing must be 0. So we're going to write x equals 0, or our first term equals 0, or our second term equals 0. So, well, x is 0 means x is 0. X minus 6 equals 0 means that x equals 6. So we actually have 2 answers that make this work. So we're going to use set notation, which is the easiest way to show an answer when the solution set has multiple elements. Here we have 2 elements in our solution set. Okay? So a 0 or a 6 works. And let's go back and look at that. Well, let's test both answers. Here we go. We're going to check. We're going to say, well, does 0 work? Does 0 squared equal 6 times 0? And does 6 squared equal 6 times 6? Well, 0 squared is 0 equals 6 times 0 is 0. Check. And actually 6 works because 36 equals 36. So we have 2 answers. It's really crazy. But when you look at this, there's 2 things that make it work. We'll learn why. It has something to do with this exponent too. But we'll learn why we have 2 answers to this equation by the time we finish this school year. Okay, so that's our first problem. And now notice, again, we moved all of our terms to the left. We factored. We used our zero product property. We got our answer, and then we checked. So what? Oh, my goodness. We did not go Happy Cat. We got to go. Got to go Happy Cat. Okay, Happy Cat, we got our right answer. All right, now we're going to erase. And we're going to move on to problem number 2, which is slightly more advanced, but we're going to use the exact same strategy. Same strategy, nothing up my sleeve. We're going to go with this problem. X times x minus 2 equals x times 2x plus 1. Well, this one is a little harder to eyeball. I can't quite look at this and see what the answers are. I can maybe make some guesses, and maybe some of you can make guesses, but our strategy is going to be the same thing. We're going to move all of our terms to the left, factor, and then use the zero product property to solve. So let's do that. So we're going to say, well, x times x minus 2 minus x times 2x plus 1 equals 0. Okay, now we have something that looks like this. An AB plus an AC. We have an A. We have this thing that's multiplied by something minus that same thing times something else. So we're going to factor this x out. So we're going to say that this equals, just like here, AB plus AC is A times the leftovers. I'm going to say that we have x times my leftovers. And my leftovers are x minus 2 minus, because this is a minus sign, 2x plus 1. And that's just a distributive property, right? If I distribute this back, I'm going to get x times x minus 2 minus x times 2x plus 1. This is a legitimate thing, a legitimate operation. And notice what we have. What we have is we have 2 things multiplied together. We have x times this whole big thing. So our answer says that either x equals 0 or x minus 2 minus 2x plus 1 equals 0. So either one of those are true. So, well, we have our, this is done. X is 0 or this is 0. So let's see here. So x minus 2, and then I got to think of this in 2 ways. There's 2 ways to solve this. Either I can just flip this sign and flip these 2 signs, or I can think of it as distributing a negative 1 to this and this. And in either case, you'll get this, minus 2x minus 1. Right? A negative distributed here and distributed here will give me my negative minus 2x and my minus 1. Or if I just flip this sign and then flip these 2 signs, I'd get a positive, and then I'd get a negative 2x and a negative 1, and then I'd end up with a negative 2x minus 1. Okay, so now my next step is to combine like terms. So we have an x, a minus 2x, and a negative 2 and a negative 1 equals 0. So we have negative x and minus 2x is negative x, minus 3 equals 0. So we get, negative x equals 3, because we added 3 to both sides. So x equals minus 3. So x is 0 or x is minus 3, so we get x equals, and we're going to write it in numerical order. X equals minus 3 comma 0. And we can check our answer. Well, let's just check 0 on inspection. So if x is 0, 0 times negative 2 is 0, and 0 times, well, whatever this would be, that would be 0. So 0 works. So let's try negative 3. Negative 3 is going to be the one that I can't quite do in my head. So let's try a negative 3 times negative 3 minus 2. Does that equal minus 3 times 2 times negative 3 plus 1? Well, does negative 3 times minus 5 equal negative 3 times negative 6 plus 1? Oh, this is looking good. So this is 15 equal negative 3 times negative 5. 15 equals 15. Oh my goodness. Sweet. This is our answer. Oh, I am so excited. I am so excited. I'm going to go big happy cat on that one. I have negative 3, 0. I did a lot of work here, but I don't know how else I could have figured this one out. You certainly cannot do this one on inspection. Requires a lot of work. Now let's go and let's do the most advanced version. And this is the one that we did in class today. And some of you got it. One of the students went to the board, got the right answer. I was very impressed with the work. It's okay if you don't, if you have to stare at it a little bit. It's algebra. This is a 9th grade class. We're rocking and rolling. We are doing cartwheels and flips. This is not easy stuff. You got to be meticulous and careful. But we're going to look at this problem, and I want you to do it the exact same way as these other ones. And it really is the same. I mean, it's the same problem, just with more symbols. Okay, so you can't just look at this and solve it. And there are 2 answers to this. But we're going to solve it by moving all of our terms to the left and setting to 0. So we're going to subtract this big piece here. And we're going to get an equation that looks like this. Minus x minus 2 times x plus 5. And all of that equals 0. We subtracted this whole piece. Okay? And now we do have a pattern. Now, let me just draw it for you. Here's our A, and here's our B, and here's our C, and that equals 0, right? Our A is x minus 2. Our B is this new thing. Our A, again, is x minus 2, and our C is this other new thing. And you really have this pattern. So we can just apply the same pattern here. And we can say our answer is, well, it's A, x minus 2, times 2x minus 3, and because we have a minus sign here, we put our minus here, x plus 5 equals 0. And this is just, again, we can prove it by distribution. You can say, well, if we distribute back, we'd get x minus 2 times 2x minus 3 minus x minus 2 times x plus 5. This is just distribution. Okay, so now we have 2 things multiplied together again. We have this A times this B minus C thing. So we know, using the 0 product property, that either x minus 2 equals 0 or 2x minus 3 minus x plus 5 equals 0. One of those is true. So if x minus 2 is 0, we add 2, we get x equals 2. Or this other thing is true. All right, so let's solve that. 2x minus 3. If we remove our parentheses, remember we got to kind of distribute. Minus x minus 5 equals 0. Minus x minus 5 equals 0. And let's combine like terms. Two x minus x, x. Negative 3 minus 8 equals 0. So we get 8, x equals 8. So our solution set is x equals 2 comma 8. And now let's check. Well, if we check, we're going to say, well, x minus 2 times 2x minus 3 equals x minus 2 times x plus 5. Well, if we put a 2 in here, we get 0. 2 in here, we get 2 times 2 minus 3, we get 1, equals 2 minus 2 is 0, and then 2 plus 5 is 7, and we get 0 equals 0. Check. So that works. And so our other check is to say that, well, if 8 minus 2 is 6. Well, let's just write it all out. 2 times 8 is 16. Well, let's just write it all out. 2 times 8 minus 3 equals 8 minus 2 again times 8 plus 5. So here we get 6 times 2 times 8 is 16 minus 3 is 13 equals 6 times 13. Well, we could just stop right here because we don't have to figure out what 6 times 13 is, because 6 times 13 must equal 6 times 13. So we are going to go, so let's say it together, we are going to go Happy Cat. Hopefully this was useful for you. Oh, you just want to, what? You guys want to just go Happy Cat all over the place on me? All right, fine. We'll just go, here, let's do this. Let's go Spinny Happy Cat. Spinny Happy Cat. Ooh. Okay, enough of that. Okay, so what we did is we used the zero factoring and the zero product property. And you know what? It is so exciting. I just love the zero product property. We're going to use it over and over again. And I know we were dancing on our head with that last problem to solve it, but if you could do that, you should be very proud. We will see you soon. And oh, got to go get the door again. All right, bye-bye.